Today we're creating a classic mandala using micron fine liner pens and a paper that's just a touch off of white. Thanks for joining me today. To get started, normally I will do a mandala just round by round, but this time I decided to go ahead and draw out the basic structure of it before I started filling in the details. So I kind of think of this as a mandala skeleton or framework, and then we'll start going in round by round. And you can see here I'm adding some triangles and line details to this first round, and I'm also coloring in the center black so it'll really stand out. And for our second round, we're just going to color in these stars, star points, just to make them really pop on the page. Using just the black, I was determined to experiment with just using one color and not go back in and add details with my white pen. So you'll see I'll go round by round, and then we'll go back and add even more details once we see how it kind of all works together. I really enjoyed doing that round of herringbone lines. And this I like to call, it's either a peacock tail, or sometimes I like to talk about it as being chicken feathers. It probably has some real name, but I'm not sure what it is. I didn't record this next round, but I used my finest pen and filled it with lots of texture. Now I called this round the seed pods. They sort of look that way once I went back in filling the circles in. Those are the seeds. The little pods are opening right up. And there we have those drawn. They definitely need some color. I debated whether to color in the circles or to color in behind the circles, and I ended up going with the circles. And then adding some color by making the seed pod itself look kind of stripy. I kind of like the way that turned out. It's a little bit different than other things I've seen. So now we're going to do some vertical lines and dots on this next round to kind of just fill in the background behind those seed pods. And then I decided the seed pod looks a little plain, so we're going to make this mandala all about the line work, and so we added some lines to some of those white spaces on the seed pods. And then this is kind of one of the things I like to do. These are scales looking scallops, and I like to draw them and then just go back and color in a few of them. You can see on the one of the rounds they're smaller, but when I color it in I tried to make it the same size as far as the black color so it wouldn't stand out. And now we're going to do some arches, and somehow I got off of being symmetrical with these. You can see a couple of them are kind of wonky to one side or the other, but when you look at it as a whole, I think it looks okay. Again, adding some more lines to keep consistent with our theme. And really, when I get started on these, I have no idea what I'm going to draw. I do kind of go through with a pencil and draw in what I think I'm going to do, but I check myself with each round to decide if I still like it or if I want to change it up. And see there, I ended up adding some additional dots and decided I didn't like it, so we're going to fill that in. I really think it needed to be solid so it would stand out and let that last round of herringbone lines really stand out on that final. At this point, I'm looking at each round and trying to decide what little extra it might need, and you can see I added some lines to my little peacock tails and even went back to my seed pods and filled in that last little section of white space. I'm going back in and darkening the lines a little bit, and now we're putting that outer border, for lack of a better word, there with the teardrop and dots, and that really makes it sparkle a little bit considering it's all black. And there we have our final mandala. Hey, I really appreciate you joining me today. Please leave a comment below and let me know what you thought about this video. I put a new one out every Wednesday, and I'd love to have you join me. Thanks again.